Dave Smith is always watching and has spies everywhere. So if you're involved in unmanly behavior, a man card violation will be issued. And in extreme cases, a man card revocation.
Because every time you drop the ball, man-wise, I'm going to take one from you.
It's time for man card violations.
Welcome back to another edition of Dave Smith Unleashed. And you know what? One of the most popular segments I ever did on my local and national radio shows over the years. And what you always ask me for are my man card violations, a term that I invented, a term that I should only be allowed to use. And we do it here on Dave Smith Unleashed, of course. So in a moment, my newest set of man card violations. But first of all, thanks to all the subscribers here. Thanks to everybody for supporting the Dave Smith Unleashed show and making it grow. And as we continue to try and make this one of the biggest sports podcasts in the country, in the world. The hell with that, in the world. But the biggest thanks, of course, goes to MTS Transportations, our great sponsor for all your freight, shipping, and trucking needs. There's nobody else to call but MTS Transportations. And when you call them, you get 20% off on your next order. So MTS Transportations, that's the only place you need to go. All right, man card violation. You know, I started this way back at the start of my career, going on almost 30 years now. I was the first one to ever do it, which again is why I should be the only one allowed to do it since I was the originator. But every week, I need to do more of these. We've done a couple since I started the Dave Smith Unleashed podcast, but I think we need to start doing more because they just keep piling up all the time. So without further ado, let's get to man card violations. And boy, I got about 4 or 5 of them today. So let's start it out. Detroit Tigers going up against the Seattle Mariners. Game 5 closeout game. The most important game of the year. Tarek Skubal is on the mound for the Detroit Tigers. He won the Cy Young Award last year. He's going to win the Cy Young Award this year. The best pitcher, the best starting pitcher in baseball over the last 2 years. And the Tigers have a 2-1 lead after 6 innings in a closeout game. And was he worn out? Had he been getting knocked around a little bit? Was it time to take him out? Hell no. He'd retired 12 consecutive batters with 9 strikeouts. I mean, he was rolling, and I think it was 1, 2, 3 every one of those last 4 innings. 12 straight batters retired and 12 strikeouts. He was dealing. He was rolling. He looked great. If I'm the manager, he's staying in there. Are you kidding? There's 9 outs to go. And if we hold on and win here, we get to the American League Championship Series and we're 1 step away from the World Series. Now, the question you have to ask yourself, I know we're in this pussy era of pitch counts and quality starts and all that. You know, but if I'm the manager, come on. We can get a complete game out of Tarek here. We can. At least wait until he gives up a run before you take him out. Another question. Do I have anybody in my bullpen as good as Skubal? Of course not. He'll win the Cy Young Award this year. He's a back-to-back Cy Young Award winner and the best starting pitcher in baseball. Of course you leave him in. But A.J. Hinch, his testicles fell off. He made a spineless, gutless, cowardly decision. Removed his best pitcher, the best pitcher in baseball, from the game. The bullpen gave up a run, of course, in the next inning, and then the Tigers wind up losing in 15 innings, and the Mariners are on to the American League Championship Series. And I hate pitch counts. I hate quality starts. I hate 6-inning starters. We've created a generation of pussies starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. Can you imagine? Don Drysdale and Bob Gibson must be spinning in their graves right now. Can you imagine if you're 3 innings away from winning a postseason series and the manager says you're coming out with a 2-1 lead? Drysdale and Gibson would have put their manager in the hospital. They'd have knocked their teeth out. There would have been a fight in the dugout. That would have never been allowed. Skubal should have been allowed to finish the game, pitch a complete game if necessary, and you go on to the next round. Oh, but Dave, he's going over the pitch count. He might hurt his arm. You might get agents upset, and free agents might not sign with the Tigers. Get out of here. Play to win. Who's your best pitcher? Who's the best pitcher in baseball? Who do I want in there to close this game out? Not anybody in my bullpen, and they cost us, Hinch cost him the game. So man card violation, A.J. Hinch, manager of the Detroit Tigers.
You've lost your man card.
getting away from sports here, a little bit political. It was interesting to see that President Donald J. Trump, I think he's stopped 9 wars now all over the world, and I think this might be his biggest one, and which should have gotten him the Nobel Peace Prize. Even Democrats, like John Fetterman, the senator from Pennsylvania, and even the Washington Post, and even Andrea Mitchell were praising Trump for this and saying maybe he should get the Nobel Peace Prize. Fetterman said he should, and of course all the Republicans do. But he ended, well, hopefully, we'll see how long it lasts, but he temporarily ended, the Gaza-Hamas-Israel war that's going on. And he created a ceasefire. And when I watched TV the other night, it was amazing to see Israel's out of there, and Palestinians by the thousands were marching back to Gaza to go back to live. And we have a ceasefire. Now, we're going to release some Hamas prisoners, and they're going to release, hopefully, all of the hostages, dead or alive, that have been in the tunnels there in Gaza since October 7th, a couple of years ago. Well, this is fantastic. This should be celebrated all around. Now, my question is, here's the man card violation. Where are all the Free Palestine protesters? Where are all the Stand with Palestine protesters that we've been seeing for the last couple of years? Well, this is a great day for Palestine and Gaza. The war's over. The ceasefire has happened. Israel's out of Gaza. And boy, do you hear the silence from the AOCs of the world, from the Ilhan Omars of the world, Rashida Tlaib, Jasmine Crockett, all the usual suspects. Not a peep, no congratulations, no support. I thought, especially Ilhan Omar, well, you're Muslim, aren't you? Shouldn't you be celebrating this? Rashida Tlaib, you're Muslim. AOC, you're always with the Free Palestine. So is Jasmine Crockett. So are a lot of Democrats. The silence is deafening. Why aren't you celebrating this? If you're for Free Palestine, if you stand with Palestine, the Israelis are out. The war's over. We've got a ceasefire. This is a good thing. This should be celebrated. Not a peep out of any one of these hypocrites, huh? Not a peep. And it just goes to show they don't really care about Gaza or Palestine or any of this. They care about making political points. They hate Donald Trump more than they love the country, more than they love Palestine, more than they love the Gazans. Unbelievable that he's not being universally praised for this. So, man card violation for all of these front-running, influencing politicians in Washington, D.C., like AOC, Ilhan Omar, Tlaib, Jasmine Crockett, and where are the campus protests? Where all the protesters on campuses that were screaming Free Palestine? How come they're not holding rallies saying, thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you for ending the war in Gaza? Well, you're never going to see it because, again, they hate Donald Trump more than they love their country. They hate Donald Trump more than they love peace. And they're being exposed as complete hypocrites for not praising him for that. If his name was anybody but Trump, if a Democrat had done this, they'd be dancing in the streets praising him. So the Trump derangement syndrome and the hatred of Donald Trump is just unbelievable, isn't it? So man card violation for all the hypocrites, all the American politicians, all the students who are screaming Free Palestine and support Palestine. Well, isn't this a great day for Palestine? Isn't this a great day for the Gaza Strip that the Israelis are out and the war's over? Yet not a peep. Unbelievable.
You've lost your man card.
Well, people say I pick on my neighbor too much. And, I gave him a man card violation for going to see Barbie. And remember, one day I gave him a man card violation because he was wearing an apron in the kitchen while his wife was working out in the garage. I said, shouldn't these roles be reversed? And he was cooking. Well, this might be the worst of all. I'm taking out the garbage the other day. I'm out in the street, and there's his wife standing out in the garage. She's sweeping and doing all kinds of stuff in the garage, doing a little bit of work. So I walk across the street and say hi to her. She says, hey, she told me her husband's inside. Why don't you go and say hi to him? I said, okay. So I walk into the living room, and he was white as a sheet when he saw me. He looked like he'd seen a ghost. He said the look on his face was, oh, no. And you know why? Guess what he was watching, sitting by himself in his living room? The View. He was watching those 4 cackling heifers on The View, spewing their nonsense. And I said, what the hell are you watching? He said, oh, no. My wife was watching. And I came in the room and I sat down. Then she got up to do some stuff in the garage. I said, well, then why didn't you change the channel? Why didn't you put it on mute? Why didn't you get up and leave? You're sitting here by yourself watching The View. There's no excuse for this. And he started talking real fast, and his eyes were moving around. And again, he turned white as a sheet, and he said, "You're not going to bring this up on the air on your podcast again." I said, "Well, I don't have any choice." A man watching The View while his wife was working in the garage, I mean, the roles should be reversed. So he got one for going to see Barbie. He got another one for wearing an apron in the kitchen while his wife was doing garage work. And now he gets a third one here, my neighbor, for sitting by himself in the living room watching The View. There's absolutely no excuse for that.
You've lost your man card.
All right, time now to take a break. Time now to pay some bills, and let's hear from our great sponsor and whom we love supporting us here, and for whom this show would not be possible without them, MTS Transportations. Dave Smith Unleashed, brought to you by MTS Transportations. And mention the Dave Smith Unleashed podcast and get 20% off on your next shipment for all your shipping, trucking, and freight needs. There's only one business to call, and that's MTS Transportations at 800-640-6873. MTS Transportations, 800-640-6873. Okay, we've had 3 man card violations so far. A.J. Hinch for being a pussy by removing his starting pitcher, the Cy Young Award winner, after the 6th inning and costing his team a chance to go to the American League Championship Series. Number 2, for all the Free Palestine and the Support Palestine supporters who are silent now after Donald Trump just ended the war over there and got a ceasefire, and that the Israelis are out, and I'm looking at the Palestinians marching back into Gaza on television. Shouldn't this be a cause for celebration? No, Trump derangement syndrome, I guess, does not allow you, even when he does something you like, even when he does something that he should be credited for. Hear that, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Jasmine Crockett? Not a peep out of you. Why aren't you celebrating? You're always yelling about free Palestine. Well, it was just freed. The war's over. We got a ceasefire. The hostages are being released. Hamas prisoners are being released by Israel. See, that's the one thing I'm a little suspect about here. 2,500 Hamas prisoners are being released from Israeli prisons and sent back in this exchange. And a lot of them are on, in there on really violent crimes and murder raps, which now you're sending them back maybe to act up again. But anyway, the bottom line is, if you claim to support Palestine, if you yell free Palestine, well, Donald Trump just ended the war. We've got a ceasefire. Why aren't you celebrating? See, that's man card violation number 3. All right, let's continue here. I'm watching the Alabama-Missouri game on Saturday. And Missouri has a 4th down and 4 in the 4th quarter, down 20-17. And I'm saying you can't punt here. You can't punt. And they didn't. They tried a fake punt. And it looked to me, and I will go to my grave with this one, that Missouri player on the fake punt got to the sideline. He leaped into the air with his foot inbounds, and he flew through the air like a bird. He stretched his arm out with the ball, got it past the first down marker before his feet came down. That's a first down. In what universe is that not a first down? But the referees ruled him short on the field. They blew the call. So they're going to go to replay review. And I said, well, if the referee's on the field, and it was a bang-bang play. You can't really blame the referees on the field. That's a tough call. But the replay review officials, they've got freeze frame. They've got slow motion. They've got, the best screens and the best view imaginable. And every single one of those guys in the review booth missed it. They blew the call. And they upheld the call on the field, gave Alabama the ball, then they went down and scored and went up 27-17, which was the difference in the game, as they wound up winning 27-24. If that call is made properly, Missouri's got a first down. If they go down and score, they probably win the game. But here's the man card violation. Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer in the booth that's a good call by the referees. And then they brought in Matt Austin, the rules expert, and he said it was a good call. I mean, the way they shill for the officials, the way they shill for Alabama, the power team of the SEC, and the way they protect and kiss ass to the officials. I mean, those 3 clowns in the broadcast booth, it's unbelievable that they didn't criticize that. It was obvious to me Missouri got a first down. So Tessitore, Jesse Palmer, and Matt Austin, shame on you for being housemen, for being shills, and for being apologists for Alabama and the officiating crew.
You've lost your man card.
Oh, here's a bad one. Here's a bad one. Evidently, the WNBA had their finals during the week here. I wouldn't know because I don't watch the WNBA. I don't care. I don't know anybody else who cares. It's completely irrelevant. Nobody cares about the WNBA. Nobody watches. But they had their finals, and I was reading that the Las Vegas Aces, by the way, owned by Mark Davis, Al's son and the owner of the Raiders, they won the WNBA championship. Okay, fine. Nobody cares. But then I came across a tweet. Remember Pat Beverly? Patrick Beverly, longtime NBA player. I think he had a cup of coffee with the Lakers. He was a good player, a very good defender, hard-nosed, scrappy guy. I always liked him as a player. Tough guy, Pat Beverly. And he sent out a tweet. And he said, I think the Aces could beat an NBA team. Now, I don't know. He must have been falling down drunk. He must have been high. Maybe he's losing his mind. Maybe he's suffering from mental illness. But for Pat Beverly to say that the Aces could beat an NBA team is absolutely ridiculous. Not only could they not beat an NBA team, they couldn't beat any college team. And I'll go even further here. Any good high school basketball team would blow out the Las Vegas Aces. They'd be favored by 25 or 30 points in Las Vegas, and they'd blow them out. I tell you what, I live right down the street in Chatsworth, California, from Sierra Canyon High School, who every year is one of the best high school teams in the country. You know, they had LeBron's son, Bronny, and they've had probably a dozen NBA players over the last 5 or 10 years that have come out of Sierra Canyon. Always one of the best teams in the country in high school basketball. And I know their coach, and I go to some of their practices, and I go to a lot of their games. They would beat the Aces by 50 points, Sierra Canyon High School. It'd be a complete joke. Any top 25 high school basketball team in the country would blow them out by 30 or 35 points. And I'll go even further. Any decent high school team, and let's go 1,000 deep, any one of them would beat the Aces. Are you kidding, Pat Beverly, saying the Aces could beat an NBA team? They couldn't beat a good high school team. For God's sake, man card violation, maybe a man card revocation for Pat Beverly.
You've lost your man card.
Oh, boy. Let's get to the New Orleans Saints here. A game I watched on Sunday. And I've become kind of a Saints fan because, you know, I've made several trips to New Orleans over the last 10 years, and I've gotten to know the city very well, and it's really more like a college fan base. I mean, the way they love their Saints in New Orleans. I don't know if any other NFL team where the fans greet them at the airport after they win a road game, a regular season road game. There's fans at the airport greeting them. They are passionate, and they love their Saints, even though they're terrible this year at 1-5. And I'll say this as well. I think Kellen Moore. I think I'm about ready to rip Kellen Moore. I think that Spencer Rattler looks like he's going to be a very good NFL quarterback. He's been really good so far this year. He isn't the problem, and he's not the reason they're 1-5. I think he's thrown for, like 1,500 yards so far in 6 games. He's only thrown 1 interception. His QB rating is not bad. He marches them up and down the field. I like Rattler. I think he's okay. He's not the problem. The defense against New England was. The secondary just got shredded in that game. But here's where the man card violation comes in. Here's again, remember I called A.J. Hinch a pussy, which I think is inarguable that he removed Derek Skubal from the game after the 6th inning when he had a 2-1 lead, and he's 9 outs away from the American League Championship Series. And again, it just drives me nuts. The pussification of starting pitching in Major League Baseball over the last 15 or 20 years, and you see no complete games. Starters go 5 or 6 innings. You see bullpen games, and, a guy can be dealing. Like Skubal retired 12 in a row with 9 strikeouts. All of them 1, 2, 3 innings. Why would you take him out? He won the Cy Young Award last year. He's going to win it again this year.
You've lost your man card.
On that note, I'm watching the Saints-Patriots game. It's kind of going back and forth. It's a pretty good game. Now, the Saints are settling for too many field goals, and that's been a problem all year in the red zone. And they kick 4 field goals and they lose 25-19. And if you kick 4 field goals in the NFL, you're usually not going to win. But they had a chance. They got the ball back with about 4 or 5 minutes left, down 6, 25-19. If they can drive down the field and score, they can win 26-25. Completed pass by Rattler, first down. Completed pass by Rattler, first down. They're on the move. They're up to the 40-yard line on their own 40. They gained 3 yards on, only 3 yards on 3 plays, a couple of incomplete passes and a 3-yard run by Alvin Kamara. So now it's 4th and 7. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game. You're down 6. Kellen Moore, you cannot punt in that situation. You can't do it. First of all, you're 1-4. You have to play to win. But 3:40 left. Your defense has played poorly the entire game. If the Patriots get 2 first downs, the game's over. You cannot punt there. I couldn't believe it when the punter came out. I said to myself, Kellen Moore, he did a good job as the Eagles offensive coordinator. He used to be with the Cowboys. What a pussy move. What a gutless, spineless, cowardly move. You've got to play to win there. It's 4th and 7. I know you're on your own 40. But if you punt, you're not going to get the ball back. All they need are 2 first downs, and your defense has been terrible the entire game. Of course they're going to get a couple of first downs. And, of course, the Patriots got 2 first downs, then kneeled out the game. And as I predicted, the Saints never got the ball back. And I tweeted out right after that. I said, the New Orleans Police Department and the Louisiana State Troopers have now reported to the New Orleans Saints sidelines, and they're searching for Kellen Moore's testicles. They're in a desperate search to try and find them because they shriveled up and fell off when he decided to punt there. So we will keep you updated. We will keep you informed on whether they find Kellen Moore's testicles or not. They're furiously searching on the side. They might have rolled under the bench. They might have rolled out onto the field and got stepped on. Who knows? But Kellen Moore's testicles disappeared, and there's a furious search for them on the New Orleans Saints sidelines. So let's go over the man card violations here again. A.J. Hinch for removing Tarek Skubal. Unbelievable. That might be the pussy move of the year in Major League Baseball after 6 innings when they're 9 outs away from the American League Championship Series. The Free Palestine protesters. I support Palestine. Free Palestine. Support Palestine. Okay, where are you now? Donald Trump just ended the war. Donald Trump just created a ceasefire. How many presidents have failed to do that? How many negotiators have failed to do that over the years? He got it done. And that's the 9th war that he's ended since he's been president in his 2nd term. There should be dancing in the streets. I'm on television watching Palestinians marching back to Gaza to live again. There should be thank you Trump signs. Ilhan Omar, Muslim. Rashida Tlaib, Muslim. They should be on their knees thanking Donald. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President, for saving Muslim lives, for creating a ceasefire. Where's AOC? Where's Jasmine Crockett? None of them. And again, it shows you what hypocrites they are. They hate Donald Trump more than they love peace, more than they love assisting Muslims in Gaza. It's unbelievable, the hypocrisy of these people. Man card number 3, my neighbor. I caught him watching The View by himself in his living room while his wife was working out in the garage. And he said, oh, it's not my fault. My wife was watching it, and I sat down with her. Then she got up to go out to the garage. And I said, yes, that's when you change the channel. That's when you put it on mute. That's when you go out to the garage and help her with the man works he's doing. You were sitting here in your chair watching The View by yourself. There's no excuse for that. So he, of course, got a man card violation. Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer, and Matt Austin, the 3 commentators on the Alabama-Missouri game, for actually defending a call that the referees and the replay review booth blew on that fake punt by Missouri that they probably would have won the game had that call been made properly. And all 3 of them, Tessitore and Palmer, the announcers, Austin, the rules expert, shilling, kissing ass, kissing up, and protecting Alabama and the SEC, and of course, defending the officials shamefully. That was a first down. How do they not? Well, they did see it. They just don't have the guts to say it. Patrick Beverly says that the Las Vegas Aces could beat an NBA team. Woo! Hopefully he was falling down drunk or high or is suffering from mental illness, because to say something that stupid is the man card violation of all time. They couldn't beat a high school boys team. Any good high school boys team would blow out the Aces. And again, by the way, who cares? I didn't even know the finals were going. Who cares about the WNBA? Nobody watches. Nobody cares. It's the caliber of basketball is horrible. It's not even high school boys basketball level. And lastly, Kellen Moore with that pussy move, punting with 3:40 left, down by 6. 4th and 7. You're on your own 40. 4th and 7. You can't punt there, Kellen Moore. What happened to your testicles? Yeah, but he punts. And of course, right when he did that, I said to myself watching the game, he'll never see the ball again. Game's over. Can't be a pussy when you're an NFL coach or an NFL player. You got to play to win at all costs, especially when you're 1-4, you have to play to win. And of course, the search goes on. And I will keep you updated on Dave Smith Unleashed during the week if they ever find Kellen Moore's testicles or AJ Hinch, because they're both missing. So we'll keep you updated on whether they're found or not by the local authorities in Seattle or in New Orleans. All right, that's it for the latest edition of Dave Smith Unleashed. I always love doing the man card violations, and of course, I want to know what you think. So hit me up on Twitter, @DaveSportsGod. Give me a comment about what you think about the show. And if you ever want to know when the show's going to be on, what day, what time, whom the guests are going to be, follow me on Twitter, @DaveSportsGod. And even more importantly, make sure you follow, share, comment, and like on our YouTube page at Dave Smith Unleashed. And make sure you fill in the comment section below. I love to hear your opinions. I love to hear what you think. And make sure you share. Make sure you spread the word. And thanks once again to our great sponsor, MTS Transportations, for making this all possible. We'll talk to you next time on the next Dave Smith Unleashed.